Mistakes are really common in the debt collection world, so it's important to read any notices that you receive carefully. If somebody is trying to collect on a debt that you already paid off or that you don't actually owe, it might be time to file a debt dispute. I'm Ben, and I work for the nonprofit Upsolve. We help people get out of debt and take control of their financial futures. In this video, we're going to cover the three-step process for disputing a debt that you don't think you owe. It's actually a pretty straightforward process. Here's what it looks like. First, make sure that the debt collector has sent you a notice validating the debt. Then, send a dispute letter or use the tear-off portion of the validation letter to start the dispute process. Finally, check your credit report to look for inaccurate information and file the dispute with the bureau that has that information in order to get it corrected. Let's dig into these steps a little bit further. The first step to dispute a debt that you don't owe is to ask the debt collector to validate the debt. Debt collectors are required by law to send you a debt validation letter either before they first contact you or within 5 days of first contacting you. At a minimum, this letter should tell you how much the debt collector thinks that you owe, who the original creditor was, and that you have a right to dispute that debt. This letter will also give you a 30-day timeline to dispute the debt. You can dispute the debt after that 30 days have passed, but it's best to do it during that time frame. If you don't, the debt collector can assume that the debt is valid and continue their collection efforts, and they usually will. And disputing within that 30-day time frame has a major perk. The debt collector is required to stop contacting you until they verify your debt. So if you've been contacted by a debt collector and you haven't yet received a debt validation letter, ask them for one and make sure that you document everything. You can learn more about how to do that in this video. The second step in disputing a debt that you don't owe is to actually file that dispute. Filing a dispute is actually pretty easy, and there are two basic ways of doing it. Many debt collectors will include a tear-off portion at the bottom of their validation letter that asks you how you want to respond. You can use this to dispute the debt. If you use the tear-off form, like this example one here from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, you usually only have to check a box to say that you want to dispute the debt. And then you can check another box telling them your reason for the dispute. The two most common reasons for disputing a debt are that the debt isn't yours or that the amount they say you owe is wrong. But you may have other reasons for disputing a debt. For example, maybe the debt was discharged in a bankruptcy or it's too old to actually collect. You can explain your reasons by including a letter along with the tear-off form. You could also draft a letter, which is sometimes called a debt verification letter, instead of sending the tear-off form. If you send your own letter, you can use it to provide detailed information explaining why you're disputing the debt. Now, some debt collection companies might allow you to file a dispute online, but it's better to do it through the mail so that you have a record of those communications. It can be a bit old school, but if you send the letter through certified mail, which is typically recommended, you then have a record of when the debt collector actually received it so that they can't tell you that they never got it. If you need help writing a dispute letter, you can check out this article for tips and a template to get you started. The final step to disputing a debt that you don't owe is to check your credit report for any errors. If a debt collector is asking you to pay a debt that you don't owe, the chances are good that that debt has also been misreported to the major credit bureaus. That's Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. So now would be a good time to run your credit report with each of these bureaus to check it for errors. Why is this so important? Errors on your credit report can hurt your credit, which will make it harder to get credit cards, loans, or even apply for housing. Errors can also be a red flag for potential identity theft, so it's important to check your credit report regularly. Thankfully, you can get a free credit report from all three bureaus every week by visiting annualcreditreport.com, and that's a site that's approved by the federal government. Once you download your reports from the bureaus, check each account to make sure that everything looks right. Look for incorrect personal information, like your address or name. Look for accounts you don't recognize, errors in the account status, or incorrect payment history or amounts. If you find errors, highlight that portion of the report and send it along with the dispute letter to the credit bureau that had the incorrect information. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has created a free credit dispute letter with great instructions, and you can find a link to it in the description. If you want some help figuring out how to get out of debt, you can take our quick screener to see if you qualify to use our free debt relief tools. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. It only takes a second and it helps other people find us so that they can get out of debt too. Thanks for watching.